Alright, in this video we're going to talk about how to create a background with a basic parallax effect, which is like it creates the illusion of depth by being sort of scaled, and it moves based on a scaling factor. So if you notice on the left hand side there is the image is static. Now I know there's flicker because of the screen capture software, so it's hard to see. But in the right, I'll close that one and maybe that'll help. In the right hand side you can see that the background slides, and it sort of helps to create the illusion that the background is farther away, and so that's what we're going to be doing. Alright, so in the graphics class we'll create a background object or a class of objects. Call it background. Imagine that. The background is essentially just going to be a blown up image that moves, that slides side to side, so it needs to know its draw X, we'll just call it draw Y. It needs to have a we're going to have it slide sort of gently, so it's going to have a target and it's going to tween its way towards the target. Then it's going to have a draw width and a draw height. It needs also a private buffered image, and we'll just call that IMG, and it's going to have a public final int to define the amount of padding around it, and so I'll call that padding. And this is just a number, like how far beyond the edge of the window that the image will be blown up, so that we never go outside the image and show just kind of an awkward black background. So we'll have a constructor background that takes in a buffered image from our game panel class, and then we'll set our image, this dot image, equal to the parameter that was passed over. Oops. We'll call that image, IMG. Then we will, why is this upset with me at this point? Public background. Oh, background. I misnamed the class. Alright, so let's refactor the class. Background. There we go. Our draw X and draw Y, just to keep the image scale correct, we're going to blow this up based on the padding. So draw width is going to equal the game window dot width, so the width of our screen, plus twice the padding, times 2. The draw height will also be the game window's height plus the padding times 2, so height, and then height here, plus the padding times 2, and I believe that's everything for our constructor. Oh no, we need the draw Y to equal the, so just above the screen by the padding amount. And there we go, that's the constructor. Now we'll need this to be able to update itself and move around the screen a little bit, slide left to right based on the position of the paddle. So we're going to have public void update, and this update method is going to take an int, and we're going to call this paddle x, so that we know, like we're just naming the parameters so that outside classes can figure out what to do with them. We're going to set the value of the target X. This is going to be a little bit weird, but we have to do some kind of range adjustments. So you may just want to kind of write this down and then kind of think through it. So we establish this new game window.width divided by 2, and then, oops, not waddle X, paddle X. So the target X is going to be game window dot width divided by 2. So this is kind of this is converting the ranges, divided by game window dot width divided by 2, and then we're going to say draw X plus equals, this is the tweening, target X minus draw X times, let's say 0.2, so it tweens a little bit more quickly. And then we're just going to draw the image, public void draw, graphics 2D G, and G2 we can call it. we'll need to import graphics 2D like normal. And then we say g2.drawImage, and we're going to want to use the one with the width and height. So img draw x, draw y, draw width, and draw height, and null for the observer. Semicolon, we're going to need to cast these to integers because they're doubles so that we can get this smooth movement. Draw y doesn't have to be a double, but we just did it that way to keep it consistent. And now we want to incorporate this class of objects. So the one thing that might not be clear is this, and so you might need to think about what this is doing just a little bit. So this basically sets the target position that we want it to move towards, and this causes it to smoothly move towards the target. So, you know, set target, and then this is like the smooth movement. Move smoothly towards target. Alright, now in our game panel class, we'll want to add a new background. So let's say right here under the kind of background fields, we're going to create a new background object called BG, and we'll have to import it because it's in a different package. Then we want to initialize it, and we want to do that after we load the resources because we're going to load the background image there, and I'm already doing that. So if you're not already loading a background image in there, I already have this image called buffered image BG image that I'm using to load the image of the kind of My Little Pony background. So we're going to say BG equals new background BG image and pass it over the image that we would like it to use. New background. And then we need to do two things. We need to update it, and we can do that kind of wherever in here. So bg.update, and we'll say the paddle.getX, which we haven't created yet, so I need to head over and create the paddle.getX as a good reminder. But before we go over and create that, we're going to draw the background. So head into draw, and if you have a background being drawn already, you can comment it out, and when we just say bg.draw graphics g2, and so I'll comment these out because I'm not using them anymore. The last thing I need to do is go over into the paddle class to create the paddle.getX so we know the paddle's position. So we can do that kind of wherever. Public int, let's just return an int getX, and then return the paddle's position is in the form of double, so we need to just cast it to an integer. So return return draw x. Now let's run our program and see if I've successfully created the background that scrolls. Yep, looks great. Okay, so that's how to create a basic parallax effect. And like I said, if it doesn't make sense, the update method under background, either ask me or just kind of think through it slowly, and I think you'll come to understand what's going on. All right.